In this video, we're going to discuss what is IFTA and how to properly file your quarterly IFTA returns. Let's get started. Now, what is IFTA? IFTA stands for International Fuel Tax Agreement, and it's an agreement between 48 states in the US and 10 provinces in Canada, making it easy to report fuel use by trucking companies that operate in more than one state. Now, who is required to get IFTA? If you have a trucking company and you're crossing state lines, you most likely will need IFTA. For example, if your gross vehicle weight rating on your truck weighs more than 26,000 pounds, you will need IFTA. Also, if you have a truck that has 3 or more axles, regardless of the weight, you will need IFTA. How do you apply for your IFTA license? So you apply for your IFTA license with your home state. For example, if your trucking business is based out of Ohio, Ohio would be your base jurisdiction, and that is where you would apply for your IFTA license. In each quarter, you would be filing your IFTA return with Ohio. After you apply for your IFTA license and get approved, they will mail you your IFTA sticker that you'll put on the side of your truck. Now, how do you calculate the fuel taxes that you owe for the quarter? It's simple. You'll need to know the total miles that you traveled in each state and the total gallons of diesel that you purchased in each state to figure out your average miles per gallon. Once we figure out the average miles per gallon, then we will know how much fuel taxes we owe in each state, because some states we might have actually received a refund. And I'll flip my camera to show you my screen to show you an example of how to calculate your IFTA taxes. Alright, so to calculate your fuel taxes, you'll need your total miles you traveled in each state and the total gallons of diesel you purchased in each state. So right now I have Motive, Keep Truck, and ELD pulled up, and we can see for quarter 4, which is October 1st until December 31st of 2023, this is the total miles that we have and the total diesel that we purchased. And you can see this is the distance by the states and the diesel purchases by the states. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this data into a Google Sheet to show you an example of how to calculate the fuel taxes. All right, so I have this Google Sheet opened, and I know there's a lot of numbers, but I'm going to explain this to you so you can understand it. You won't need to do this. It's going to be much easier for you because you will simply need to input the numbers into the IFTA portal, and it'll automatically do the calculations for you. But for those of you who might be interested in learning about how the taxes are calculated, please watch this portion of the video. If not, you can skip to the next portion of the video where I will show you how to input the numbers into the IFTA portal, where it will automatically calculate this for you. All right, so the first thing I did here is I organized all the data by the states. So these are the states that we traveled in last quarter. And then total miles are the total miles that we traveled in all of those states. So it's 21,241 miles. And then this is the total gallons we purchased. You can see majority of the gallons we purchased was in Ohio. So 2,840 gallons were purchased last quarter. Now, what you want to do is you want to figure out your miles per gallon. And the way I calculated that is by dividing the total miles by the total gallons. And that's how I got this miles per gallon of 7.5. So I'm going to need this number in order to figure out the rest of the data. The tax rate, you will need to go to iftach.org. That is the website where you can find this information. Once you log into the website, you'll just click where it says tax rates. You can search for it by the state. So for example, if I wanted to find the tax rates in Ohio, I would just scroll down to Ohio and click view, and you can view the tax rates by the quarter. So Q4 2023, special diesel was 47 cents. And if you look at the Google Sheet, that is what I put for Ohio, 47 cents. And that's how I got all of these tax rates. For the surcharge tax, you can also find that on the same website. The only state that had a surcharge tax for this quarter was Kentucky, and it was 12 cents. Taxable miles will be the same thing as the total miles. You'll just copy the total miles and paste it here where it says taxable miles. For taxable gallons, this is how many gallons you owe for that state. So the way you calculate that is by dividing the total miles by your miles per gallon. So the total miles by the miles per gallon, and that is how you figure out how much taxable gallons, like how much do you owe for the taxes. And I added that up here. You see where it says total miles divided by MPG? That is how you find that number, right? So 2 gallons is what we owed for the miles that we traveled in Kentucky. Tax paid gallons, this is just, we're going to copy the total gallons. So we did not pay any gallons in Kentucky. And then the net taxable gallons is basically the taxable gallons minus the tax paid gallons. That's how we got this number. So the taxable gallons minus the tax paid gallons. That's how we got this number. And then the tax credit is the tax rate multiplied by the net taxable gallons. And the surcharge tax is surcharge tax multiplied by the net taxable gallons. And this is how we got the tax due for Kentucky and the remaining of the states. So once I input all the numbers, this is how much I owe for the quarter, $38.46. But remember, you don't have to do all this numbers. The main thing you need is the total miles you traveled in each state and the total gallons of diesel you purchased in each state, and you will figure out your miles per gallon. Next, I'm going to show you how to input all these numbers into the IFTA portal, and it will be much easier. If you want a copy of something like this, if you want a copy of this Google Sheet, please email me at info@truckingwithmook.com, and I'll send you this for free. So email me, let me know if you're interested, and I'll send it to you for free. All right, so now I'm logged into the Ohio Business Gateway. This is the website that we use to file our IFTA returns in the state of Ohio. So the first question they asked me is, how many vehicles do you have? So I'll put one vehicle. And then they asked the total miles traveled in all juries, which is the total miles traveled in each state. And I can just copy the number, the data from here, from the Keep Trucking ELD. And then they asked the total gallons purchased in all juries. And I'm also going to copy that from Keep Trucking ELD. So the fuel gallons here that you're seeing on the Keep Trucking ELD are fuel purchases that are coming from the RTS fuel card. So I contacted Motive, and they were able to connect the API so that they can retrieve all the data, all the fuel purchases from our RTS portal, and it automatically shows me here. So if you don't have this on your ELD, you'll need to log in separately to your fuel card provider and get the gallons from there. All right, so next we're going to have to input the total miles and the total gallons that we traveled in each state. So I'm going to click Show Schedule. This is the jurisdiction, the state, and then the total miles and the tax paid gallons. So let's start off with Kentucky. We traveled 17 miles in Kentucky, and we had 0 gallons of diesel. Taxable miles will automatically populate. 0 tax paid gallons. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for the remaining states. All right, so I added all the states. Now you'll click Return to Summary, and it might look different from your portal. Every state kind of looks different, but it's essentially the same data. Total miles traveled in each state and the total gallons purchased in each state, and then you just have to input that data. So here it shows the total miles and the total gallons, and these numbers need to match. So as you can see that the total gallons I have here is 2,840, but I put 2,839, so I could be off by one number. Let me take a look. All right, so I got that updated. The total miles are matching and the total gallons are matching. If these numbers are not matching, it won't let you proceed to the next step. So make sure that the total gallons are matching and the total miles are also matching. All right, so we're in the next screen here, and we can see the total miles we traveled in each state and the total gallons of diesel we purchased in each state. The average miles per gallon is a little off from what I had on my Google Sheet, so the tax that we owe is $39.55. So that is why I like using the portal, because it automatically calculates everything for you. You can see, for example, in Kentucky, the tax that we owe is 51 cents. In Maryland, $10.51. You can see in Ohio, we got a refund of $663 because we paid more gallons than we owed in the state of Ohio. So we paid taxes on 2,782 gallons, but we only needed to pay taxes on 1,370 gallons. And that is why we got a refund. So with IFTA, in some states, you might get a refund. In some states, you will actually owe money. So after this quarter, this is how much we would be owing, $39.55. The number is a little bit off from the Google Sheet because the miles per gallon was a little bit off for what I had. But that is the reason why I recommend just having everything input into the IFTA portal, because it'll give you the most accurate numbers. And it's not that much off. See here, it's $39.55, and this one was $38.46. So if you use the portal, it'll make your life easier. You can file IFTA by paper. You can use a PDF and kind of do what I did here with the Excel, with the Google Sheet, where I inputted all the numbers and kind of calculated it that way. But for me, I like to use the portal because it makes the process much easier. Next, simply click File and make your payment, and you are done for that quarter. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe so you get notified the next time I drop a video. Thank you.